Hi everyone, welcome to CHEM 115 Lab Online. In this short video, I'll walk you through the materials that you need for the lab, the structure for the lab, and the syllabus as well. Your instructor is going to be the same as the course instructor. This is his email address. Please do not hesitate to email him in case you need any help. All labs right now are posted on eCampus, so they are all released. You can see them if you access eCampus, CHEM 115 lab page. However, officially we are starting our first lab on January 20. So on January 20, you can start working with your first experiment. You can start working with your first experiment if you get the platform earlier than January 20, it's fine. But on January 20, this is the official date where we are starting the experiments. We do have a total of 11 experiments, and none of these experiments are going to be dropped. So every single experiment counts. So please make sure you submit every single one of them. With respect to the due date, guys, the due date for every experiment is going to be every Monday by 11:55 p.m. So I'm giving you a week in order to submit your assignment. Now, after the due date, the instructor is going to grade those lab reports and submit the grades on eCampus. To ensure consistent grading, we want all the students to submit on time. So please make sure that you submit on time. Okay. Some of the labs have more than one part. So if a lab has two parts, please make sure you complete its two parts. With respect to the material for the lab, we would need Beyond Labs platform. This is a must that you would need to buy. And there are two ways to buy it, either from the bookstore or you can go directly to the website and buy that. So let's go to eCampus. Here you go. So if you go to ecampus.wvu.edu, log in, and go to the CHEM 115 section, your section, CHEM 115 lab section. This is actually what you are going to see. Okay, right now you're watching this video. So this is actually what you're going to see. And these are all the experiments that are actually released. You do have a total of 11 experiments in there. Every experiment has a due date. So what the instructor did here is that they gave you the due date for every single one of them. So experiment 1, you start working on experiment 1 on January 20. And the due date for this experiment is January 26th. So make sure by that date you submit the experiment. Now, the material that you need for the lab is Beyond Labs in here. This is actually an online platform, and this is a platform you would need to purchase. There is no way around it. You have to purchase that. There are two ways to purchase this platform. Either you go through this link, okay, so just to press on this link, and it will lead you to purchase. The package that we need is this one over here. So press on that and it will guide you through the steps to purchase this package. This is one way of purchasing the Beyond Labs platform. Okay. Now, another way of purchasing the Beyond platform is to the Beyond Lab is to go through the bookstore. Now, if you purchase through the bookstore, they're going to give you a code in there. So once you get that code, this is what you need to do. You go to experiment number 1. Okay. Either ways, by the way, if you purchase through the website or if you purchase through the bookstore, you're going to get a code anyways. So to activate this code, you go into the experiment in there. And then once you go into the experiment, this is actually the Beyond Labs experiment. So this is experiment 1, density of solids and liquids in there. Experiment 1 has a video, introduction video. It does have a supporting information, and it does have, this is the actual Beyond Lab experiment. So it says, open this file to start experiment 1. So all what you need to do is just press on it right now, because I am actually enrolled in there in Beyond Labs. It's going to open like this with me. With you guys, it's going to ask you put the code. So you're going to go ahead and put the code of purchase, and then once you do this, you will have access to the experiment. So all what you need to do is just hit start, and you can start the actual experiment in there. Okay, so this is how you purchase Beyond Labs. As I mentioned in there, Beyond Labs is an important platform. This is actually all our experiments are going to be Beyond Labs. So please make sure to purchase that either through the bookstore, or go to the actual website and purchase it. We are actually enrolled in First Day Complete. So if you have the First Day Complete package, Beyond the Labs is included in that. Another thing that I want you to do is to enroll in the class. What I did for every section is I listed the class enrollment code. It's a different code for every section. And this is completely different than the purchase code that you got. Okay? I want you to do this step just once. So in order to enroll for the class, these are the steps that you would need to do. First, I want you to copy the code. So let's do edit, and let's go ahead and copy the code in there. This is Control C. Okay. And then you go to Beyond Labs. Now, once you purchased an account, of course, you did a username and password, right? So you go ahead and you log in with your credentials in there. I've already logged in with my credentials. So once you log in, you're going to see a page like this, and what you're going to see is your section in there, whether you're TO1 or TO2. You're not going to see both sections, okay? So you're going to go ahead and hit on the groups in there, and you're going to see your section. So you're going to do join a group. So once you do join a group in there, you're going to copy paste that code into the group code. And I believe that you have either save here or join. So just hit that button in there, close everything, and that's it. So what this will enable me is I would be able to see your lab workbook, and I would be able to trace your steps, look at your procedure, how did you do in the experiment and everything. So monitor your experiment, in other words. This is very important. So please make sure that you enroll in the class. This is the only time you need to access through Beyond Labs website is to purchase and then enroll in the class. This is it. After that, every single experiment, you will access it from the link of that experiment in there. So let's have an example. For example, experiment number 1 does have an introduction video. You watch this video before you start the experiment in there. And it does have a supporting information. I'm going to put the supporting information up there. So it does have a supporting information. Normally the supporting information is a PDF file that includes the theory of the experiment in there. In case there is any equation, I would list that equation. And there, if there is any calculation and how to do the calculation steps, I would list those as well. For the first experiment, it's a simple one. Density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. So if you know your mass of the object, if you know the volume of it, then you can go ahead and get the density of the experiment. Guys, the supporting information does have the theory in there, and does have the answers to a lot of free answer questions in the lab. So please look at it together with the introduction video so that you can go ahead and start your experiment. So now the actual Beyond Lab experiment is this one. So all what you need to do is just press on it to access that experiment. We're going to hit resume in there, and you're going to see, if you scroll, you're going to see that the experiment starts with a pre-lab question. This is a free answer question. And because it's a free answer question, this needs to be graded by the instructor. So once you go ahead and you answer in there and you submit your answer, the grade that you're going to receive will be either a 0 or nothing. Okay, so if you receive a zero or nothing in there, this means that your answer has to be graded by the instructor, and the instructor will do so after the due date, you guys, after the due date. So if you get a zero, please do not panic. Okay, every question does have a submit button, so please make sure to submit the question. You do have 3 trials for every single question in there. It's not going to tell you if your question submitted is right or if it is wrong. And if it tells you that you submitted your question but it is wrong, this means that because it needs to be graded. It's not because it is wrong. So it's kind of like misleading in a way. So please pay attention to that. All I'm saying, these are free answer questions, and these questions need to be graded. So the system will identify your answer as an incorrect answer. So your instructor has to grade it, give you the grade, and the grade will be posted after the deadline. Okay, so you can see that every question does have a submit button. So if you submit that, this means that you submitted the answer for the question in there. And then, so this is a pre-lab, I believe. And then you do have your procedure now. Under the procedure, this is your actual experiment. So I normally prefer, let's see, I normally prefer to open this in a new window in there, so that this is your actual experiment. Here you go. And I would prefer as well to put the procedure and the experiment side by side. Put more side towards the actual experiment in there. Perfect. So here you go, so that I can scroll between the procedure and the actual experiment. Now the procedure is very straightforward, so it's gonna tell you exactly what you need to do. For the first experiments, these are the solids that you would need to choose from. Every solid, if you bring the cursor to it, it's gonna tell you the identity of that solid, whether it's a glass, whether it's platinum, whatever. So please adhere to the procedure. If it tells you to choose a plastic bowl, this means that you would need to search from these bowls. You search for a plastic bowl and use it. Do not use a red oak wood bowl, please, or any other bowl other than the one that is specifically mentioned in your procedure. Okay, to walk you through this window very fast. Here you go. So you do have a stock room. In the stock room, there are the chemicals that you would need to use in case you are monitoring your experiment. You always go to the live data in there, and in the live data you can go ahead and read the volume of your, for this particular experiment, you can read the volume of the liquid in the graduated cylinder. So if you are asked to find the volume, please go to the live data in order to read that. And then this icon is clear the lab. If you did a mistake or anything like this, or if you want to start over, you can simply clear the lab. Now these labs are meant to not be done in one sitting. So if you want to go ahead and stop the lab and resume it later on, you can do this. But all what you need to do is save the lab. Okay. Every time you hit save the lab, everything will be saved in your lab book. And this is why I made you enroll in the course, and I gave you that access code in there for the course so that I can view your lab book. So every time you're working anything, please hit save. And once you hit save, you are going to see the results in your lab book. I don't want you to do anything in your lab book. This is my part where I can look at your lab book. I can monitor your experiments, monitor the steps that you were doing in there. In case you mess up or anything, I would let you know in there. So if I don't see anything in your lab book, this means that you did not do the actual experiment. And if you did not do the actual experiment, even though you submitted your experiment, um, you're gonna get a zero. So that lab book is an evidence that you did the experiment. And in order to have all your data in the lab book, every time you do something, please go ahead and hit Save Lab. Okay. This is all that I am asking in there. And here you go. So you do your experiment in there, scroll through the procedure. So after you scroll through the procedure, as you're doing the experiment, you're going to go ahead and answer the questions in the lab. Every time you answer a question, please submit. If you do not submit a question, this means that you did not submit your entire lab, because your entire lab is submitted when all the questions are submitted. Other than that, it's going to show me that your experiment is still in progress, so I cannot grade it. So make sure that every question is submitted, and as I said, every question you have 3 trials in it. But it's not going to actually tell you if your answers are right or wrong. And if it says that your answer is wrong, please ignore, because these are free answers. So I have to, or the instructor have to grade those. Okay? Finish answering all the questions in there. And again, please look at the supporting information, because in the supporting information, there's also explanation of these questions. There are multiple procedures in there. Please go ahead and do them. Submit every single question in there. And once you submit every single question, this is it. You're done from the lab. You have submitted the lab. There's no additional step that you would need to do other than making sure that you answer every question, submit every question, and this is it. Okay. So that is for the experiment. You guys, every experiment is going to be the same. Now, the first experiment is going to be the hardest because you're not used to the platform, but after this, you will get used to the platform. It's going to be easier for you. For experiment number 2, guys, the due date is February the 2nd. If you go to eCampus, I'm just going to scroll all the way down in there. This is the experiment list in there. This is when the experiments are released. Actually, everything is released, but this is when I'm expecting you to start working on the experiment, and this is the due date of every single experiment. So experiment number 2 is due on the February the 2nd. So for experiment number 2, you do have a supporting information in there. Now, that supporting information is really important because it walks you through the calculations in there, every single step that you need for the calculation. So please read through it. This is very similar to the course material in there. So your instructor should have explained this in the course, so that you can go ahead and do the lab. Guys, the experiment for experiment number 2 is 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Please make sure that you do both of them. The supporting information is for both parts as well. So read the supporting information. This one has no video, because the procedure is more than enough. There's a short video in the procedure as well. You can watch that and do both parts of the experiment. You do the same for every single experiment. Back to the syllabus. There is no lab final. There are no lab finals, no lab quizzes. Your lab report is going to be your entire lab grade. We do have 11 lab experiments. None of them are going to be dropped. Make sure that you submit every one of them. If an experiment has more than one part, please go ahead and submit that. Your instructor will not remind you to submit your lab reports in there, so please make sure you adhere by the schedule for the due date, and you submit your lab reports on time. Now, every experiment I'm going to show you in the grade book, but every experiment is 6.67% of your grade in there. So we do have 11 experiments. We do have 15 parts. So this is going to constitute around 100% of your grade. Okay. As for the midterm grade in there, the midterm probably is on the 27th. So anything before 27 will be counted toward your midterm grade. So we have 5 labs in there. So all 5 labs are going to constitute your midterm grade. Each lab will be at 20%. So make sure that you submit the first 5 labs in there so that you can get a good grade for your midterm. The last thing in this introduction, I just want to show you how to go to the grade book and read your grade in the grade center. I'm not going to do a student preview because right now there is no grades in there, but I just want to show you. Okay, so what you're going to see is actually your a column for every single experiment. Once you submit that experiment, you guys, ignore the grade. If you got a grade directly after submission, ignore it because this is not going to be your actual grade. The instructor needs to grade the lab, as I mentioned, after the deadline. Just give it a day or two after the deadline and then look at your grade for that lab. That will be your actual grade in there. So you're going to see a grade for every single experiment that you go ahead and submit. There are 2 columns in there, the overall grade and the midterm grade. The midterm grade, as I said, is going to be from labs 1 through 5, so make sure you submit all your 5 labs in there. As you can see, the grade is starting from 0 and building up, okay? So every time you submit an assignment in there, the grade is going to start adding up until it reaches 100%. So for the midterm grade, you do have 5 experiments in there. So there's a percentage on every single experiment so that the grade builds up. So let's say, for example, for experiment number 1, if you submit experiment number 1 in there, you start by building your grade in there. So that is going to be 14.28. It's not out of 100, you guys. It's out of just that assignment that you submitted in there. So it seems like this experiment 1, since you got the 100% and their experiment 1 is that much percentage. So you got 14.28 out of 14.28. Let's say for experiment number 2, if you got a 30 out of 30, here you go. So that your average is now going to start building up. As I said, midterm is going to be for the first 5 experiments in there. Your grade is going to build up to 100%. And there, let's go ahead and put those as actually as nothing. Okay, so let's put those as nothing. It's just for demonstration in there. Now for the overall grade is for all the labs in there. And again, every single lab has a percentage. I believe it's 6.67%. Just look at the syllabus in there. And it's going to start building from the bottom up. Okay, so that's why you're seeing that your grade is at 0%. Back to the syllabus, you guys, it is listed that the last lab, which is lab number 11, this is due on April the 13th. So I'm expecting by April 13th, you have all the labs submitted. But if you need more time, you are given some time until April 20. So April 20, it's going to be your deadline to submit any late labs. This doesn't mean that you accumulate all your labs and you submit them on April 20. You cannot do this. Okay? So April 20 is left as an emergency date. If there is any lab that you couldn't do, you can go ahead and you submit that. 1 lab, 2 labs, it's fine, but not more than this. Okay? Please make sure that you abide by this due date. After April 20, all the labs are going to be closed, so you cannot submit any other labs. Please pay attention to 2 important dates. January 16th is the last day to register or drop without receiving a W, and April 17th is the last day to drop with receiving a W. Okay, guys, so this is the end of this video. If you have any questions, please let your instructor know.